the Super Channel Heart and Home After Show with special guests Kevin McGarry, Barbara Gregazova, Sarah Maberly, and now the host of the Super Channel Heart and Home After Show, Elliott Wallach.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Super Channel Heart and Home After Show, episode 7, 5 to go. Now we've talked this year about those incredible sets, and Constable Nathan Grant has been in a lot of those scenes. So naturally, actor Kevin McGarry, well, he couldn't agree more. Now we caught Kevin on the set of When Calls the Heart, in the jail ironically. Let's take a look.
Kevin, thanks for joining me again.
You got me shackled to the chair here. I don't know if they can see that at home, but yeah.
Like once you come
Please
in.
call for help.
Right. So let's talk about episode 7, and you got to go on a little field trip with Elizabeth.
Yeah, we could say that.
Yeah, so they went to the movies. Tell me about that set.
Yeah,
and what that was like.
Yeah, so Elizabeth takes Nathan to a Buster Keaton film, and production built this amazing set for the city. You know, it's this movie theater with all these blinking lights. We've got actual real posters from the 1920s. One of them is like heart of a Mountie, I think, is what one of the real posters. And there's a Mountie. Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah, I thought it was super cool.
Yeah.
So they're leaving this big theater in this big city, and they've got there's a bunch of cars driving around, and we've got 100 new background that we've never seen before, all dressed up in fancy tuxedos and stuff. It just looks like you'd never know that it was on this lot. I guess take a look and see if at home and see if you can find out where in the town.
I know.
it was
I want you
built.
to tell me.
No, you gotta do a side by side thing and see if
Okay.
you can find it.
I've heard that Buster Keaton is the funniest man in the world, and now I can see why.
The look on his face when that horse melted? How did they do that? It was incredible.
There was another big scene. There was a movie theater.
Yes, the movie theater. It's the yellow building that is right across from the judges. It's kind of at that cross, that T there. We call it Home Depot because it's yellow. And so we completely refaced it, made the bay window into a box office, and then made all of our massive marquees, the lights, and our paint department. Shay does all of our signage, and I couldn't believe it when I saw it. It looked like real marquees. It was incredible. And then we had to disguise the judges and those 2 other facades to make it look like Union City.
Right.
Like, okay, so we repainted it and added a lot of different decor and changed everything out and added a ton of background. When I was watching it, I was like, hey, I think we're in a different city. This is great.
This worked. So how long does that live? So you put all that work into it, you change it, and then, of course, now we're back in Hope Valley the next day?
That was the saddest moment, seeing those marquees come down. We had to take it down the next day.
Oh.
Yeah, the next day, everything, poof, bye. Yeah, because of course we have to then shoot Hope Valley. So we were doing an exterior jail. And we're like, oh, well, okay, we're gonna see this.
Yeah.
So next day it came down. But that set and the Gatsby party, that took 3 weeks of lots and lots of work.
I love this song.
They're leaving and they're giddy after watching the movie, and they're laughing and they're flirting, and they kind of are dancing and humming along to a song that's playing out of the box office. And then all of a sudden Nathan hears this, Danny, and he turns around and it's Toddy from an earlier episode, the one where Nathan had to go undercover to try to get this criminal to tell him where he got the gold. And all of a sudden, this criminal is there, and he sees Nathan, who he thinks is Danny. So he says, Danny, get over here, come talk to me. And Nathan all of a sudden has Elizabeth in this kind of dangerous situation. And he's like, just call me Danny for the next 2 minutes. And they get invited back to this mansion, Toddy's mansion, where he's hosting a 1920s rager. This is the closest, I think. This is the most 1920s we've ever seen in this show. We've been in it for the last 2 years, but this is the roaring 20s.
Okay.
And we go to this gangster's house, and it just so happens that he has a tux for Nathan to borrow and a beautiful dress for Elizabeth to wear. And it fits them just right. I don't know how that worked out, but it fits them just right.
I said I had the perfect dress, didn't I, Todd?
Always trust Rudy with fashion.
I think it's time we see that dress shimmy. Oh, no, here we go.
So we knew that we will need to have like a 2 undercover looks, right? So, and we wanted them to be different. So everybody was tiny bit worried that if we put Nathan in like a white dinner jacket for his first undercover look, then for the poker game, then it might be too similar to the one at the party. So we just had to establish early on that, okay, well, if we go with this, white dinner jacket, which everybody loved the look of it, then for the party, we are doing black tuxedos with the black bow ties. And then for him, because he did a black bow tie with the white dinner jacket, we were like, okay, well, then let's do a white bow tie for him with a white vest for the party, just to have it different. But you basically prep the show how you shoot, right? So like, okay, so first is the theater, which means the theater dress is the first, right? And then we have the party. So that means we need to have that sorted out next. So you have to always prioritize what's on camera first, and you just hope they will not change the scale,
right?
Because that can happen too, right? Like with this block coming up, the 5th block, we have lots of stunts. Well, and we don't have things in doubles, and then they cast a stunt double, and even if we would have stuff in doubles, they might not be the size we actually have. We had like multiple times this year, which we needed multiples for Ellie, and we needed multiples for Oliver, who's a new cast, because they're in a forest and you don't know like what ends up going to happen, or if it's going to be a rainy day. So we needed to have multiples for them. So we had to make like, there was you sometimes don't know like, oh, can we do a multiple of something what we have, or do we have to do something new? Because for Ellie, she has her little like the pants, the mustardy color one with stripes. And I'm like, oh, I really would like her to wear that. But do we have enough fabric to do a second pair, right? So luckily we had, so we could do a second pair.
And then you also got to do Erin's look for the Gatsby party.
That one was a tough one because if we start with 1920s, which everybody's talking about, everybody's always imagining like what you find on internet, and that's usually the late 1920s. So the flapper dress come later. Like the flapper did existed in our time, like it was 1921. There was actually a movie, and I think it was called Flapper because we were researching it, and that's where it's sort of started, but it wasn't the look which everybody knows now.
Right. They would have been trendsetters.
Yeah, so like it just started, right? So, but if you start Googling, everybody starts getting pictures from like the late 20s. But the skirt lengths at the time are very short, but we are not there yet. So we had to kind of do, I would call it a compromise. Because like we did like a research, right? Like what movies we could find in that period and where there was parties and what they did. I mean, the black tuxedos, it's something which they had. That's not men's are not the problem. So for Erin, like there was this website I found, and it's funny how you find things actually, because you Google one year and nothing pops up, and then you Google different year and suddenly you have different options, which I found very interesting. Yeah. And then Erin was Googling and she found completely different option, which I never found. So there was this website and they had a bunch of dresses, and I was like, oh, this could actually work for us. So I sent the pictures of the dresses from the website to Hallmark just to see like if that's the direction they want to go. And as soon as we know that's the direction they want to know, then I knew what we can do for everybody, because we basically had 30 backgrounds,
That's a lot.
Yeah, for a party, yeah, especially for the wardrobe we don't have and you cannot rent it.
Yeah, so how did you dress all of them?
Well, I basically ordered the dresses we wanted to try on Erin in her size, and then what wouldn't end up on her would end up on a background. And we wanted like color, because we knew that the men will be kind of black and white. So it's still like not as bright maybe, but I think it's bright enough because it is a party and it's an evening. So we just tried to put as much color with the ladies' attires. And yeah, and it's basically I ordered dresses which I could chop up from this website. We had to fit all the background. So we have like, basically we shot Union City Theater theater on Friday, which was 30 background, which we had to specifically dress and fit, but they had to be city. And then we had another 30 over the long weekend on Tuesday, which was all the Gatsby party, which we also had to fit. We had some stuff which I knew that we can reuse from the party, which we did like, I think 2 seasons or 3 seasons ago. And I knew that like we could potentially like do something with this. So yeah, it was just a combination of dresses, and then we had to alter them. I mean, the dress which we originally wanted to use on Erin was a different dress. She ended up on a camera, so we were fussing with it for like 3 days and 3 different fittings. And I mean, it was great fun dress. And then the dress she actually ended up in, we put it on at one point and we just felt it didn't work. Like it just was lots of like fussing and figuring out like how to take it in, and we needed to shorten it, you know, and then like we were trying to do something different like with the straps. So originally the dress has like a, you know, straps which are just, let's call them regular straps, and then we wanted like off-shoulder straps. So then you have to do something which will hold the dress, you know, on the body. So we did like, we added like the beaded, you know, beaded detail. I would say like we tried every dress which is on a background on Erin just to make sure that we have the best one. All the background looks amazing. Each dress was specifically fitted on that person and chosen for that person. So if I would do a different, you know, combination, it wouldn't really work. So it was like based on their skin tone and the body type and height and, you know, everything I had to take into consideration. And that's why they ended up in the dress. And then we had to do all the alterations for that person specifically to make it work. And then adding the accessories and the, you know, jewelry and headpiece, because everybody's wearing some sort of hair accessory to work with the dress. So there was just lots of components which we normally don't do. And we basically started fitting all the backgrounds like a week before. So we just had like a 1 week to put the party together.
So Toddy,
Yes, he's an estate dealer. Trades in illegal coins, like the one found in the mercantile.
oh,
Turns out it was part of a notorious train robbery, and Toddy may be the key to the case.
so who are you to Toddy?
A shady coin dealer.
And I'm your dame?
Yeah,
So we're the bad guys?
we're the bad guys. For tonight, anyways.
And we enter this like world that we've never seen on the show before, where there's like champagne flowing and people are dancing and they feather boas, and there's a band up there, like a 4-piece band up there, and Nathan and Elizabeth kind of find themselves, you know, circumstantially undercover in this new world. And it, you know, it's dangerous, but it's kind of sexy at the same time, and it's fun. And they kind of have to get the trust of Toddy and his wife. And their stories don't line up.
Yes.
And to prove that they are who they say they are, they're kind of coerced into like singing this song together. So also a first on this show, Erin and I go up and we have to sing the song that we were humming earlier in the episode together.
People have been hoping you would sing. They know you
Well,
sing.
we really do now, both
Okay.
Erin and I. And yeah, it's just this like this song and dance moment in the middle of the show. It's just, it was so much fun to shoot because we've never done it before.
You made me love you. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it.
You made me want you, and all the time you knew it. I guess you always knew it.
You made me happy sometimes.
You made me glad, but there were times, dear.
You made me feel so sad.
Sorry, Danny.
You made me sigh for I didn't want to tell you. I didn't want to tell you. I want some love, that's true, yes I do.
Did I do?
You know I do. Give me what I cry for. You know you got the brand of kisses that I die for. You know you made me. You know you made me. you made me love you.
It was a lot of fun, and I think the audience is going to love it. I think, we've been talking about the 20s for so long, and it's kind of tough to bring it to a small frontier town. So for us to be able to kind of like go off and like create this kind of new world, and again, set design and production.
Yeah,
just
where did they
built-
shoot it?
Well, I don't want to tell you. I want to see if you guys can figure it out, because it was built in a set that, you've all seen multiple times. But, a couple gallons of paint and some new lighting and a stage and everything, and it was amazing. They did a great job, and Kristen Lehman directed that, and it's the first time she directed on our show, and she did an incredible job. Yeah, she just blew everybody out of the water with that.
So when you saw in the script that you had to sing "For Me and My Gal," I think is what it was, the song, or did you do something different?
So For Me and My Gal was the original one, and then Aaron and I kind of talked. It was too fast. We wanted one that was a bit slower, and we wanted one that was kind of more to Nathan and Elizabeth's story. So we switched it to "You Made Me Love You," which is just more like, and I didn't want to do it, but like, so like this kind of idea that, they fought this for a long time, and then it was already in the stars. So we thought that was a more appropriate song. So yeah, we said, hey, we're going to sing this one instead. And they let us.
Did you rehearse ahead of time?
No, we just winged it. So I hope it worked out.
Did you really?
No, of course we rehearsed it. No, there was John sent us the music, and we found a key, and it was great.
And then you had to dance.
And then we had to dance, right? Then we had to do the.
Is that stressful, or when you see
For me,
somebody?
it is. I'm not a dancer. I mean, one of the another great thing in this episode, we had our choreographer, who was just like, he's incredible. He's done a bunch of stuff with Disney. He brought in these like really great dancers, and they were kind of, we had a handful of like really great professional dancers moving around, and doing Charleston with us. But also the opening shot is kind of a oneer, and these dancers were like just perfectly placed and kind of like leading the camera through the party. And just coming from like being in theater, like the triple threats, they do so much, and a lot of the time you're looking at the leads, and it's the triple threats and the dancers and stuff that are like leading the story and moving us through the world, and they did such a great job. Yeah. So when it came to the actual dance of doing the Charleston, that's only 4 steps. I could figure it out. And I had like Aaron's feet to kind of watch, and luckily Nathan is supposed to look like he's picking it up, so it gave me a bit of grace to kind of figure it out on the spot. But then we did this other great shot. I think there was a shot where we're looking up when the streamers are going off and the champagne's flying, and Erin's wearing that like 1920s flapper thing on her hair, and I think we're both looking. It's this kind of like bird's eye view of us dancing. It was great. Like we've never done anything like that on the show.
It felt bigger this season.
It felt big, yeah, and I think that was the push too. I think from the network they wanted to see, I think. They really wanted to see us take this to another level. And I think, like since I've joined the show and a couple other people joined the show, it's changed, it's become a different show. Still the same kernel of the show, but it's just kind of had a facelift here and there as we've moved on. And we're kind of at that part now where it's kind of taking a new form again. And, we're allowed this whole season, we've got between the train that was built at the beginning, where we see Lucas and Edie on, and Bill and Georgie on, like that set looked incredible. And then we've got the poker room that Nathan went undercover, and now we've got this like 1920s mansion, and they just did a really great job. And production, specifically set design, and the guys in construction, they absolutely killed it. It was amazing this year.
Cheers.
Now, you must tell me.
How did you get that dapper gentleman to call himself yours?
Oh, I bid on him at a bachelor charity auction.
No.
Cost me a pretty penny, but I think it was a good long-term investment.
Oh, Diane, that is too good.
Let's talk about the Gatsby set. Tell me how that came together. Okay, where did you say you did it in the schoolhouse?
We did it in the schoolhouse, which we, before shooting even began, we knew it had come down into our ears. We're like, okay, this is going to be a thing. So we figured out where we think we wanted it. I think thought, well, the church seems like the best location because you can get those high ceilings, so we can bring in those big chandeliers that'll really, it's just the grandness of that space will lend to the grandness of a mansion and a party. It was just then the task of disguising the ceiling and the walls, and so we covered and painted absolutely everything except the last like 8 feet or so of the peak. Once you hit those beams, we're like, okay, we're not going to shoot above that, so we stopped there. And of course, you've got all your lights up there too. So
Was it fun bringing these ideas together? Because I'm sure, do you get a lot of direction? I mean, did they just say Gatsby, or did they have more specific?
Well, we definitely had a lot of discussion about this because we're early 1920s, and so making sure that we were still staying true to the period, which was still slightly in the Victorian age, and so building on that and then adding to it these hints of early Art Deco. We're not in the full jazz era yet. That's closer to the 30s. So making sure that we still found that really nice balance without giving us full 1920s Art Deco right away, and because we want to build to that. And so there was a lot of discussion on the level and where we wanted it, but we knew it was in an old Victorian mansion, that these are more modern people, and so they're going to have those things that speak to the city life, speak to the Art Deco that's slowly being peppered into their culture. So bringing in those colors and talking with Barbara about the costumes, which, oh my goodness, I wanted every single one of those costumes. It was incredible. And thinking about the colors and what we would see, and looking up the architecture and really, especially New York City and the Chrysler Building and what those looked like and the angles. And then trying to find Art Deco that still exists in town. And so we found some really cool lights and lamps that were straight from the 20s. Yeah.
Any pieces that you were really proud of that you found or that you really loved that you put into the space?
Yeah, we had these two, and I didn't find these. Our decorator, Blake Pedersen, found them. They're these two just stunning, very Art Deco glass lights that live right beside the stage. And right when camera landed, we had our first AD do our safety check and our safety talk and be like, okay, when you're not like needing them, don't touch them. Only set tech can touch them. They're gonna go into storage if we're not shooting them. Like, we cannot hurt these things. They're beautiful and they're rentals. So I was really, really proud that our set tech team found those. And I mean, every piece they found was really special.
Oh, so we are married now?
Yes, we live in the city. We spend our summers by the lake, and your husband worships the ground that you walk on.
And his wife thinks he's just as handsome as the day of their wedding.
There's been some romantic
It's also
moments.
been pretty steamy.
It's been a little steamy.
I know we're not talking about the Dream episode. But
Yes,
remember
I was gonna
remember
bring
the
it up.
Dream episode?
Yes, I remember.
Well,
Okay,
pretty
when you see
steamy.
that in the script, okay.
I thought it was
Which one
kinda-
makes you more nervous, dancing or having to take your shirt off?
I haven't taken my shirt off, of course, because that means I can't eat certain things for a while. You're right. Like the amount of times Nathan had to get into a little singlet or whatever. That Dream episode was pretty wild too,
It
right?
was,
We've never done
yes,
anything
it
like that
was.
as well. And we did those like romance novel cover kind
Yes.
of dreams that Elizabeth was having. And I watched it the other day, and I think it works so well because it's so heightened in the dream. Like, it's just jarring how it changes, and Nathan's voice is dropped down. And he's kind of like, he's, got the little Superman curl, and he's, but then for her to quickly wake up, and then you see that she's super sick, and like Nathan's reading a book, and he's like, what, you okay? And it plays really well. And then when Nathan gets his own dream at the end with the sheets flying around, I think it's like one of the prettiest things that we've done on. It's kind of a sweet thing where he's kind of, looking for Elizabeth, and the sheets are, but it's very notebooky. It's very, it's like poetic, and it just looks really pretty. And then to smash cut to him kissing the dog.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
yeah, because he's kissing Elizabeth, only to wake up and find out it's the dog.
Elizabeth? Where are you? There you are.
there's nowhere else I'd rather be.
Go! Oh.
That was a lot of fun, those dreams.
And it gives everybody, the crew and everybody, a chance to do something a little bit different, right? A different look,
A new
different
challenge
style.
for everybody, you know? I mean, we integrated Josh, who was our A-cam, B-cam and then A-cam, but he did the Ronin a lot, which is the steady cam, where it's like a human holds the camera and kind of walks around rather than everything's on sticks or everything's on, you know, a rolly or whatever, a track. So we really moved with the characters a lot more this year. You know, by moving on that Ronin allows us to kind of follow the characters in the world a bit more. So yeah, we really, you know, they really stepped up and like I said, I think it's just another step forward, and this show is kind of evolving again into something new, and it's kind of moving forward with the times and also people's interests. And, you know, you can't do the same thing all the time. You always got to find a new thing, and you got to keep people entertained. And I think there's some bold moves this year, and I think a lot of them paid off. So.
And there's still some things to solve as the season goes on. We're only in episode 7.
Right.
So if
the
you
gold.
had,
We got to solve
you
the
gotta
gold.
solve the gold.
Who's going to get it? Does it exist?
Does it exist?
Are we going to see the Garrison gang come back?
Who's the bad guy? I don't know.
Well, we think it's the Garrison gang.
Right. But where'd the coin come from? Like, we don't know.
We don't know
you
anything.
We don't know much about, I mean, Edie, her. You know,
You're
there's
right.
There's
we
a
don't know
lot.
much about
There's a
Edie.
lot.
The only one that wears glasses, which makes me suspicious
Well,
of
there's
her.
definitely, it must be her.
It's got to be the girl with glasses.
Well, thanks for joining me.
Thanks
Always
for having
a
me.
pleasure.
Again, shackled to the chair, so
That's
I can't get out of here.
Good.
Yeah,
then
please,
I
somebody
predict
call
we'll-
the police.
I predict we'll see you again.
You
before
will.
The season's
Yeah,
over.
I can't go anywhere. Help me.
Thank you so much to Barbara, Sarah, and Kevin for being on the program. We would like to thank Judge Bill Avery for enforcing the time we spent with Kevin McGarry. And that concludes this episode. 5 episodes to go. It's going to be good. So until then, we'll see you next time right here on the Super Channel Heart and Home After Show.